Hello, everybody. How are you? Putting a little hand lotion on because my hands get dry. Well, or maybe it's just I don't want them to look quite as old as they do. So, hello, everybody. Just making sure I had my microphone on. And hello, happy Thursday night. So, if you're wondering, yes, I'm wearing the same outfit from Sunday. I was like, for Thursday night, I don't necessarily want to go have to pick a different outfit and everything that matches it. So I just left everything down here after Sunday's show. See, I tell you all my secrets. So, how is everyone? Oh, Kathleen Ziegler, Laura, Marcia. Sure. Oh, no. I knew I was forgetting something. I I'll wear it Sunday if somebody knows what I mean. I forgot a watch I was going to wear today. Oh goodness. So hello, Cheryl Hogan is here. Yay. Laura Rylander, it is so good to see you. So today we're continuing on with our art series, and I've got some fun stuff to share with you. I'm hoping if I hear from Jody soon, Dolores, yay! But I'm hoping if we hear from Jody, I want to see what class she took and when, because that's exciting. I took a class yesterday and it was a lot of fun. I brought down a double-ended Sharpie pen. It has an ultra-fine end and then a regular fine tip, not one of their wide tips. And I had taken it upstairs for my class yesterday. And when I was bringing all that stuff down tonight, I said, oh no, one of the tips that is missing. And so not knowing where I had lost it, I quickly grabbed another pen top off a Bic pen, put it, jammed it on here, and then taped it. Because I love this thing. It's really fine tip. I love this thing. And I did not want it to dry out. So I had a great class from a woman. Now let me see. Let me check her name again. Her first name is Bonnie. She's a wonderful teacher and a wonderful thread painter. And I'm going to try to get in touch with her because she said maybe we could get together to do something because I told her I teach landscape quilts here and she loves the thread painting. And I learned a lot from her. So let me quickly check to see. I've got her website and let me type it in. Today I've been so tired. Oops. I've been so tired today. And here it is. Okay. Bonnie Langenfeld. And she's a neat lady. Now let me, hold on. I'm going to click on her website. Let me see if it'll bring up her website. And she even has, you know how you can get a smart card? And she has her files for how to do, it came up to this site. Hold on. I'm going to find it. Just hold on. And right now, it's the Spring Quilt Festival online. It's the festival that should have been in Greenville, South Carolina, but it will be back next year. Don't worry. They've already got it scheduled. So, and I've got a lecture tomorrow from our very own Susan Brubaker Knapp. So I can't wait. And hers is going to be about thread painting and stuff too. So, I want to be able to bring y'all the most up-to-date information, the best advice I can give. So let me find Bonnie's site. Hold on. Okay. BONNIE and then LANGENFELD. So let me see. Okay, here we go. She is neat lady. landscapesinfabric.com. Jeez, this is pretty cool. So let me copy this. Okay, come back to y'all. Here we go. Oops, let me go ahead and write it. Langenfeld, and really neat lady and very talented. She does works of art. And oops, come on, don't you? You better let me paste. There it comes. I figured it should let me paste. I think that's what Susan does. But there's her website. And you can get on her mailing list and find out information about you. And I think she taught another class today. So look for her at the quilt shows and remember that name. Because if you like art quilts, like I do, like we do, then it's really good to have the best information in your tool belt for doing thread painting. So, oh, you finally got Kathleen Ziegler was having problems. Hello, Miss Linda. Thank you for being here, Miss Linda. She is our moderator with the mostest, and so glad to see her. Okay, so I haven't worked on any of my works because, like I said, back up a little bit. I did my work. There's Betty. I've got Betty's Mosaic koi to show you tonight. So, and then Maria D, hello. Maria, I wonder if you were one of the ones that wrote to ask for a pattern because I have given out over 30 free patterns and I'm loving it. So if you want a pattern for the garden gate and come back, if you do get the garden gate pattern, watch the shows and see the changes we made because I had good help from Jody and who else? Several of y'all have helped me to work on, you've been quilt testers. There you go. And so you've really helped me a lot. Miss Betty, too. So you did. Oh, great. Wonderful. I thought I recognized your name. And you sending an email to my Our Time to Quilt at twc.com. Whoops. Okay, and if you send me an email, then I'll share my patterns with you, some information for our binding tool quilt, which is really getting going on Sundays, and we have a lot of fun. But anyway, now let me think of where I was. Okay, boy, I tell you what, I told Mark all day I've been tired. Oh, that's where I was getting to. So I've got my taxes still to do and I itemize and I hate grabbing all the receipts and everything, but I'm so stingy. I don't want to pay a cent more than I have to. And even though I pay more than somebody who shall remain nameless, but anyway, it's my duty and I'm happy to do it, but just not overdo it. So I've still got to do that, but I had to make the big decision about Medicare. I expected there to be lightning or rumble in the background, and because I'm turning 65 in a week, and I've got to make that decision. And I've been a lucky person. Oh, let me see. Oh, good job. Oh, that's wonderful. Yay. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Miss Linda. I was talking to a dear godfather of mine, and he's afraid to go get it. And I was like, it's really not bad. And to know that I don't have to live in fear of getting what would, for me, be a deadly disease, I'm happy. So I'm so proud of you, Linda. Wow, look at them. Y'all are leading the way. I love it. So, because it's been just over a week since I got my second one. Now I'm done. I'm happy. I'm waiting the length of time for my full immunity to kick in, and then I'm going to hit the road and go see my grandbabies. So Mark's going to hold down the fort here for me. But anyway, so what I was saying is I read every pamphlet and every book on Medicare. I mean, honest to goodness. And it's one of those things that the more you read, the more you study, the more confused you get. Now, I shouldn't really say that because, yes, now I know what Medicare Part A, B, C, D, what they do. And I know the difference in a Medigap plan and a medical advantage plan. And but I gotta tell you, if any of you are going through this, Jean Pooler, hello, sweet. There's Jody. We were just gonna ask, what day do you take your class? Have you already taken it? And I was tired yesterday. It was a 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., but I loved it and really learned a lot. There's Patricia. Yeah, it will make you tired for a little, won't it? But they say, look at the reaction as, yay, my body did not have antibodies for this. So that's a good sign that your body's like, whoop, I got to fight this. And I don't know if this is true or not, but every year I get a flu shot and I've had my pneumonia shot and all that. And I think that helped make it a little easier on me. And Mark and I had just had our flu shot last August. So I like to think that that helps. Your class was yesterday. Tell us again what your class was. And did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time? I'm loving the Mancuso classes online. The Zoom chats that they send you to work wonderfully, and you're able to turn off the video if you'd rather sew in private. You're able to turn on and off the audio, and which is a good thing because you don't want them to hear the dogs barking and the machine going. Learned a lot about Photoshop elements. Yes, that's wonderful, Jody. Oh, because we know Jody is the queen at taking photographs and images and turning them into something that she can put into a quilt. And they're amazing. So I'm so tickled that you learned that. That would be something I would like to learn too. So I'll have to be looking for a class. Hardly any soreness at all. That's wonderful, Linda. And if you're one that, like I say, I think if you're one that gets flu vaccinations and all these things, I think it kind of makes it a wee bit easier. But we're tickled. We're so happy. So anyway, you're taking, a Photoshop. Photoshop is a complex problem. But I got to tell you, Laura, it is amazing. You can do so much with it. Oh, Patricia, that's so nice. Jody is a talented artist. Remember her name, and because she is such an artistic force that you're going to be hearing plenty from Miss Jody. You're going to be hearing plenty from her. So I love it that she has such a unique artistic voice. That's important. I've always worried I would never find my artistic voice. It's starting to kind of happen. But Jody, man, she has got it. Like our Linda McCollum has her artistic voice. You can see one of her works and you know exactly who did it. And, I think that's impressive. Rub it with Aspercreme. That's wonderful. I was doing lots of windmills with my arm, and I always say, that's why it helped. But, my 16-year-old granddaughter got her shot, so I'm so happy. But anyway, make a long story short, because I do get distracted, squirrels everywhere. I read and studied and read. And I was afraid of getting in touch with any kind of insurance agent because I didn't want anyone with a vested interest telling me what to do. Well, I found on the back of the book, because I signed up at Medicare.gov, well worth doing. They have some official YouTube videos, well worth watching. And then reading the books. I mean, I would rather have a hammer hit my thumbnail than read instruction manuals. I love reading books, but not instruction manuals. It's like a different language for me. So, but it was good that I had to read it over and over to really make it sink in. What are the differences? So I actually phone called Medicare.gov because they had this other number, but you had to call between 8 and 5. Well, when I talked to the Medicare.gov, she said, you really need to talk. It's called SHIP, and it's State Health Insurance Partners, I think. And each state, each of the 50 states, has this agency that will help walk you through the process to choose your Medicare. And it's important to get it right. Plans like the Medigap plan, you have to get right away. And once you turn them over and try a Medicare Advantage, you might not be able to get it back again. And the Medicare Advantage look really fancy and have all the bells and whistles, but does it cover the things you need most? So when I told her about my surgery, she said, you need the Medigap plan because what I'm concerned about is hospital deductibles, major test deductibles, what kind of annual deductibles do the plans have? So you got to really do your homework. Don't just look at, oh, it'll pay for a gym or it'll pay for my dental. What you got to really look at it. So exactly. Now, if you get a Medigap plan, you pick your doctor. But if you get Medicare Advantage, they're usually like an HMO. They have their little group that they will cover. Anyone outside of that, they don't cover. And they can change which doctors they include in their group. So you got to watch it. But when I called this SHIP, and on my Medicare book, and you can find it at medicare.gov, this group was the best. I got on there and I said, I felt like crying because I was getting the straight answers I needed. I had a list of questions that I just couldn't figure out for myself. And she went one by one. And so by the end of the conversation, I'm like, I don't know who this little gal is, but I love her. And I told her at the end of it, I said, you have made all the difference. I have been angsting over this decision for months. And I said, while you were talking, I was doodling, and I was doodling an angel. Because I said, that's what you are right now to me, is helping me figure out through this. And she was really touched. But she helped me enter in all my medications because I'm trying to enter my medications. And I thought I'd entered all of them. All of a sudden, they disappeared. I wasn't doing it right. And oh my gosh, it's like every place I go in the computer world has a different way of doing things. And, trying to figure some of it out, you just get overwhelmed. It's like, let me make an art quilt. I can do that. I need somebody else to handle this stuff. And my Mark is younger than me. So he hasn't had to do this. He's no real help. And so anyway, the good news is go to your state, SHIP, State Health Insurance Partner, find their number, call them up, and they will walk you through it step by step. Best thing you could ever do. You don't have to be worried about being chased down by an insurance agent, being forced into something, because she found the prescription plan for me for $17 a month, and it's better than the $70, $80, $90 ones. You can't just look at what you pay per month as to what it covers, but she entered all my specific prescriptions in so she could tell me exactly what it was going to cost. So all things said, because you didn't come here for insurance, but all things said, I'm going to end up better off than when I was on the federal employees health benefit. So I'm very happy. And it's now all decided except for the dental plan. And I think I'd like a dental plan because at some point, I haven't had regular dental coverage. My insurance company was abysmal at it. But at some point, I might need a crown or two, and that's when it gets expensive. So, and the reason I'm telling you this is because any of you that are around this age, you probably have felt what I've been feeling, knowing it's coming, knowing I had to make a decision. I told her on the phone today, I said, little girl I talked to today, hey, notice how I'm saying little girl now? Yeah, I am becoming an older American. Oh, that young thing, that whippersnapper. But I said, I'm not worried about being 65. That's no problem. I've just been terrified of Medicare. So, and the thing is, I went ahead and opted to get early Social Security, they sign you up. You're signed up. You have to tell them if you don't want Part B, and but always get Part B because you never know when you're going to lose your insurance. So, especially if you have any pre-existing conditions, and if you do it right away in your first initial period, they cannot deny you. They cannot charge you more. So this is important stuff, ladies. And so anyway, I'm hoping if anybody has to consider that, or it will be coming up for you, that maybe it might give you a little comfort and help. So, don't you love cooking from scratch? I tell you, it's nice to have convenience sometimes. You know what Mark and I've started doing? I still make big family meals like I did when I had 3 kids at home, and then we freeze 2/3 of the dinner. And it's so wonderful. So tonight, after I finish this, we're going to have goulash that I made a few weeks ago, and I saved the 2 extra dinners. So that's really nice. Jody, you're so funny. I love it. Jody said we'll have to start having Medicare Mondays. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I tell you, I love, don't forget to have taxes taken out. Oh, that wouldn't be good. Yes, and I had them. Another thing, I had them take my Part B and my prescriptions out of my Social Security so I don't have to worry about it. And when I do the dental, I've got to figure out, because I don't want to have to pay it each month and take any chance on forgetting it. And like any of my big bills, like house payment stuff, I have them on an automatic payment plan. It comes right out of my account, but you can only do that for just a couple. So anyway, all right. But I just thought I would tell you, I'm so happy because now it's decided. And I've mentioned it a couple times because I was dreading it and kind of dragging my feet going, oh, yeah, I got to decide. But now it's done. And I think it's going to be really good. The only thing I'm concerned, well, 2 things. I've got to see what they'll do about hearing aids, although I was reading in the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Look, I shouldn't say which Medigap I got, but they do give you a deep discount. And I got to check on dental. But otherwise, I'm good. So you still have your old stove. Not getting Social Security until September. Oh, and they do it quarterly. Ugh. I gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, make it easy on me so I don't stress out. But anyway, I can't wait to show you. I have a photo from Betty, who has done her Mosaic koi. And so I haven't touched mine again, but I'm going to tell you something that Mark looked at it and said. Okay. Oh, you love kitchen gadgets. So here is my Mosaic koi. When I was taking my class yesterday, she said, we're going to have show and tell. Do you have a project you're especially happy about? Maybe something in your room? I swear that's what she said, but everybody else just showed what they were doing in class. So I might have misheard. And I'm like, look, I did this and I love it. Probably looked like I was in first grade. Me, teacher, to call me. But anyway, but I'm loving this thing. One of the things I'm thinking about doing, let me turn the camera and show you. I'm going to do it on the outside edge first. I was marked, in fact, this is a Mark thing. That boy, he knows stuff about, he knows a lot about this. He has learned so much about quilting from me. I'm thinking of taking this little pen edge and going right at the edge of the fabric. It might be dry from being without the cap, but just doing the finest little line. I'm being so careful because I don't want to get a big line on it. But I'm kind of thinking about doing a little fine line of dark right along the edge. I'm being so careful because if I don't like it, then, well, I guess I could always replace that piece of fabric. I don't have to be that afraid then. But I'm kind of wondering, do I want to, if for nothing else, just do the outside edges of the different designs to make them pop? You see, I am thinking I'm going to do this, ladies and gentlemen, because I think it will help the fish stand out. Because if this was real mosaic, then the height of the tile would be a little more prominent. But like with these fins, I'm thinking if I come across here, what do you think? I'm thinking it would just give it a little more definition. All right, I'm going to get ready and hold it up to see what you think. But I'm thinking it might be good. Right, let me see. Oh, here it is. You see that? Now, why does it look so dark there and not over here? Hold on. Right. Anyway, I'm thinking I might do that. And I don't think I'm going to do it all in between here. I think just around the edge of the fish, maybe just on the edge of the blue stripe, maybe on the edge of the, oops, I just knocked off a piece of pink. That's the other thing we're going to talk about tonight is how do we protect these? Because these little guys want to jump off any chance they get. And just like that one popped off, I don't know how to properly use the fusible, I think, or I needed a heavier weight fusible because I don't like the fact that they pop off like that. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do tonight in just a minute. Oh, now that's a good idea. Take a fine black thread and go along the edge. I'm going to try that too. That is a great idea. Now this is the gate. Hold on, I got another one falling off. Does anybody have this problem where they use the fusibles and then they start to fall off? Am I the only one that has this problem? But I know that I've had teachers before say, if you use fusible, you have to go over it with invisible threads because they will fall off. So anyway, here we go. And I wanted to tell you, I should have it. I hope I do. Miss Jody did a beautiful sunshine. I can't wait to show you. Now, next week when we're working on these, because see, I've got to see how these edges, I've got to take and stitch. I stitched the initial pieces, but now I've got to go back and stitch all the flowers and the birds and stuff down. But Miss Jody did a beautiful sunshine on it. And if you won't mind, Miss Jody, I'm going to kind of look at yours when I designed mine, because yours just seemed, it was like the perfect answer. Not being too technical, but not being dumb looking like mine was. So if you got the garden gate pattern, okay, having a hot flash. Hold on. If you got the garden gate pattern, remember that we like the ones best that had the fence pickets in one solid piece. Now, what I did with mine is went back over and put pieces of white fabric to cut that topmost gap. The reason I had a reason for making them in sections, because stained glass, you usually don't find something that long. But it ended up making it look, like Mark said, it looks like a barn, not a gate or fence. So also, two of the ladies did their tops even and with pretty shapes. And you might want to try that too, because then that way you're really driving home that, hey, this is a fence or a gate. And then you might want to make your flowers bigger. You can take the sheet I sent you and just enlarge it if you want to, or take the pictures I drew and put a piece of paper over them and draw out, like leave a quarter of an inch around and draw them bigger. So there's ways you can do it like that to make it a little bit more impressionistic. Someone sent me a picture and it looked like the flowers in the downtown sky thing that we first saw and said, oh, that looks like a gate. And it was really a city skyline with the fence pickets. I know why I'm hot today. It was 86 or something outside. It's warm. And our air conditioning needs service. Mark said it froze up last night. He could hear it, and no air was getting through. So the A coil inside was frozen. But anyway, so in just a minute, I'm going to show you how I'm going to start saving. I'm going to start right tonight. I'm going to do the Mosaic koi first, because when those little tiny pieces come falling off, it doesn't make me happy. So I have my favorite monofilament. It's not monofilament either. Monopoly. It's polyester made by Superior Threads. This was around $7. And it even comes with little netting. The netting can help. It can help keep the thread from unwinding when it's not supposed to. So when you put it on the little pole of the machine, just pop the netting over it, and that way it'll feed out more smoothly. Sometimes you may have to put this in a heavy coffee cup and run it up through, or if you have a thread stand that stands on the table. If you have problems with unusual threads, that's the first thing you can try to do. Is my machines, for the most part, feed my thread in this way, but the way some of them are wound, they do better when they unwind through the top. So that's why I said you can put them in a heavy coffee mug, then wind it through your machine. Or if you have a nice heavy thread stand, sit it behind your machine and then come and thread it up. Okay? So those are little tricky things like metallics and certain rayons, and just some are cross-wound. If you go to Superior Threads, they'll tell you exactly. I don't know the terminology, because if it doesn't work this way, I try that way. So anyway, all right, so right now, the solid white piece, is it my binding tools? That's my binding tool star that I did with a white background and pastels. And so I've got 3 binding tool stars I made, and I love every one of them so dearly. So I decided to hang that up so y'all could enjoy that. On the gate, because I put the little white across where it was a gap. Let's see what if you're asking any question about this, and you see my bird, I put a little goldfinch up there. Whoops, the other side. There's my little goldfinch. And I don't know if there's anything on here you want to ask me about. But anyway, okay. But whoever recommended the sunflowers, thank you. That was a wonderful decision because my stems were so thick it looked kind of silly to have the others. So, what else was I going to tell you? You decide how many flowers. I kind of wish I'd made my flowers a little taller, but I think I'm done. Next week I am going to take and make a butterfly for it to set it on top. So I do have somewhere I kind of showed y'all how I do it, but I'm actually going to do it I think there was a show a couple months back where I tried doing a dragonfly. And then, that's right. And then I think I showed you a lot of making this. And this is where you take water-soluble solvay or any kind of stabilizer that dissolves in water. And I did 2 layers, and this is all thread. There's no fabric in this. It's all thread. And you just stitch back and forth. And you can put fabric on it and stitch over that too. But it's kind of like making lace. Can you see through that? You can kind of, but anyway, it's kind of lacy. But what you have to do is don't sew straight lines. You want to do all kinds of squiggles so that it's all interconnected. Or else, if you just do straight lines, when you rinse the solvay out, it'll fall apart and you'll have a little puddle of thread. And then remember, I only wash out half the solvay. So that way, when it's wet, I can mold it to the shape I want. And when it dries, it will hold that shape. And like I told everybody else too, I did thin lines back and forth, zigzag lines to do the antennae and to do these little wing tips because they were kind of flimsy. I took white glue and a little bit of water and I just kept rubbing layers and layers on it. And finally it dried and it gave the stiffness I needed for the thin parts. So I will be making one of these next Thursday night with y'all because I've got to make one that's much smaller than this. This is bigger than my little goldfinch bird on my gate. So I will be doing that. Okay. So now if you have any questions, write them in all caps. I will look for all caps and then I'll answer them. You're still confused on what white background? What quilt, what white background? I'm trying to, let me tell you, Dolores did the most realistic raccoon. And I mean, I've never seen such a realistic animal as that. And when I opened the picture, I forgot what she said she had done. When I opened it big. That raccoon popped up. It scared me. I closed that so fast. I was like, what the heck was that? The house. Oh, what he said, I think I know what you're asking. The top of the gate, the way it comes up like this, when this was black, like stained glass, it was a line across here, it made it look like a house. And this is supposed to be a gate where the pickets of the gate go up to a point and then back down. And it looks like a house to a lot of people. So I was trying, I might have to take the top of the pickets and shape them so you really know Oh, those are fence boards. But when I show you Jody's, you'll see, that I know is a fence. So I'm hoping that was what you. So what she's saying is she took, our Dolores is saying with the raccoon, because I noticed his little paw comes over the jeans that are hanging on the clothesline. And she took the solvay, and when she was doing the thread painting, oh, good. I'm so glad, Kathleen. Now yeah, see, it looks like a house back there. I've got to fix that. But anyway, but she said she used the solvay, and so then you rinse part of it out. You leave it just enough that you can kind of bend it, and you just check it while it's drying in the air. You just sit it there. I sat mine up on spools so it would support the big wings. And then when it dries, that's the shape it's dried in. So no wonder he looked so, because when that paw was coming over, I'm like, and I closed that thing so fast. Then when I finally realized what it is, I kept trying to open it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that is so real. It bothers me. Well, what I found to shrink it down, and then you could see it was a raccoon hanging out in a pair of jeans on the clothesline. Then I went, oh my God, that's so funny. It's so cute. But up close too much, it was too real for me. I was waiting for that thing to spit in my face. So, be careful. When Dolores does an animal, you can almost smell the animal. I mean, it's real. That was amazing. Okay, so yesterday I had a class with Bonnie Langenfeld. See, there's another mosaic piece fell off. There's where it goes. At least I find where it goes. But anyway, we had the class, and she does beautiful work where she just stick it back on while I'm talking, because if not, I will lose it. But anyway, she takes paints seams on fabric. She takes some fabric and puts on seams, and then her thread stitching, she wants it to be as realistic as possible, and it is. So let me find the first one we did. So she had us go through steps. She uses a product called Timtex, and Timtex. If you're in England, it's called something, name is like a P, like Pentex or something. I don't know. But you can, in America, you can get crinoline, you can get buckram. I didn't have the Timtex is even thicker than this. And I'm going to look for some. I have buckram, and if you have buckram already, you can just use 2 pieces of it to give it the thickness. But let me see. The first one we did, and some of these, I'm not going to brag on them because I was practicing. I've always told you, I don't lower my feed dogs because I find it intimidating when you have to try to, if your feed dogs are lowered, you'll just sit there and sew in the same spot. And so it's hard for me to walk and chew gum. That's it. Oh, thank you, Dolores. Paltex. That's it. That's the word of it in England. And I can't walk and chew gum at the same time sometimes. So it's like trying to keep it moving, and then you're responsible for how long the stitches are going to be. You have to kind of work, you have to practice. And if you get some of this Timtex, it makes it so much easier to practice. So what she had us do is I used my buckram and cut a piece of fabric and put it on there. And then she taught us, now, it looks like a child did it, but I have never thread painted with my presser feet down. That scares me. And I've always liked the tension of pulling back and forth against it. And when I drop the feed dogs, then I'm like, I don't seem to control it. It shows. I was trying to do a straight line. That is not a straight line, ladies. Look at that. So, but I said, Deb, this is why you're taking the class. You want to learn to do it the right way or a new way. And so I kept on going and going. And by the time I got to the bottom, I was getting better. And she had us practice some stones. And the main thing for me was practicing having to steer it because it doesn't want to pull through on its own, and controlling the stitches and the stitch length and all of that. So that's the first thing we did. The second thing we did is 3D rocks. And I was getting better, especially I like my brown one. And she told us to cut out a shape. And boy, I tell you what, it really makes me want to get Stonehenge fabric. But I had some tone on tones and I just used these. And she showed us how to do zigzag stitching. You do zigzag. This was straight line. You do zigzag when you want to fill in more areas. And we did a zigzag about 1.6. She calls it scribbling. See, I took notes right on this stuff so I would know. But I started writing scribble with the thread. So this is done with a zigzag scribbling. And how fast you move it and what direction determines whether it really is a zigzag or if it does kind of long marks. But it fills in much easier. Yeah, that's why I wanted, because, I love doing landscape quilts. I need to learn to do better thread painting. Because, I do fight a lot with my thread. I fight with the fabric. And she definitely talked about you got to have a good backing on it because doing all of this just wants it to draw up. Then she said, okay, get out a piece of fabric, and we did a sky, a house, and grass, and then she showed us how she does the grasses. And she uses 3 colors, and they're distinct, light, medium, and dark. And then she showed us how to do the flowers. And if you notice, the flowers are 2-tone, a light and a dark. And you kind of have to exaggerate it when you do it with thread painting. So don't just get a medium pink and a light pink. Go dark pink and a light pink. Because if you don't, it's not going to show up. But I was real happy with that. So then she said, okay, now we're going to do a beach. And let me show you some things about doing the beach. Now, I want to warn you, the white thread I chose was too big. I need to get a thinner thread. I thought it would be good because I thought it felt fluffier, so I thought it would be good. But she showed us how to use one side of the fabric for the light part of the sand, the dark side of the fabric for the wet part of the wet sand near the water. Now, mine hadn't been sewn down, so don't pay attention to that. But then she showed us how to do the zigzag, and it becomes deeper and wider as you come closer to the beach. And of course, I can't just do 2 like she did. I had to do 5. What is that about? I just can't seem to stop myself. I think I just wanted to keep practicing. Then I went over it with white. I've got 3 colors. I've got a dark blue, I've got a medium blue, and a light blue, actually, and then the white that I did the little foamy parts. And the neatest thing is she showed us how to cut a little oval of fabric, like a long oval of darker fabric and put there, and then just while you're holding it, do the stitching right over the darker fabric, and it looks like a wave, because when a wave comes up to crash, it does look darker under there. And so that's cool. So I'm really, really happy with this. Then she wanted to teach us to do a waterfall. I'm going to tell you right now, this wasn't the best waterfall. She used a darker color. That I made the mistake. I thought I chose a fabric that had striations in it, but it was too light. When it's too light, it doesn't show through right. And now it just kind of looks like a bunch of dust mop that's really dusty. But I understand what to do for next time. And she showed us about using that zigzag stitch and kind of coming down, and then having the water, when the water hits the bottom, it kind of bounces out and around. So she taught us you do kind of a straight line down, and then at the bottom do the kind of squiggles. So, but I know now it says use darker fabric, then scribble and splash at the bottom. So then she said, okay, now we're going to do trees. And this is my tree. And I think I'm most proud of this. Yeah, we did a lot. She had us busy. And let me tell you what, if you want to practice thread painting, get yourself some Buckram or Timtex, Pellon 70, non-fusible preferred. But this stuff is wonderful because you can learn the skills and motion without having, because normally I tell y'all when you do thread painting, take and put fusible interfacing on the back. Well, what she does is she doesn't really quilt hers as such. She does work of art where she does the picture, the thread painting, and then she puts fabric on the back to cover all the messy stitches and then just puts a frame around it or puts a mat board around it. So a lot of hers are framed. So, but what she was doing was in this, let me tell you, she was teaching us about using the dark, medium, and light. And then I had never done this before, where I used the zigzag stitch and I made the bit. This was all fabric. The tree base is fabric, but the little branches were from the zigzag stitching. And then she said, now she calls it a scribble stitch. And so it's where they do the zigzag and scribble. But she says, don't make a lollipop tree. Leave spaces, leave gaps, now I didn't have time to finish it, but do it dark, medium, and light. And she does her medium first to do most of the filling in. Then she accents with the dark and does even less accenting with the light, which is the reflection. So I was right pleased. So then she said, cut out a cone shape. And she was going to teach us how to do pine trees, evergreens. Boy, you should see how gorgeous hers were, because you start with the medium thread and you just cover this thing all over with that shape. Then you come back in and you decide where do you want your dark, like you're looking under the branches. Then you come in with the highlight color that really makes it sparkle. Her trees were amazing, but I should have really used a darker one of this. What I found is use a darker fabric on a lot of things, even like the waterfall. She said, I thought it was going to be blue. She said, it's not, it's gray. Use a dark enough color that the thread pops. That makes that water look light and sparkly. Okay, so remember that when you do that. And then at the very end, she did just a demo. This is going to be a palm tree. And you would do 3 colors on that also. So I will be finishing that. But I think we got our money's worth. I love the fact that I now have these. She said we could take and put a hole in the corner and put a ring or ribbon and hold them together so you can refer to them. I think I'm going to take one of my journals and glue them in the journal. And in that way, I have a book of ideas. Now, if you go to her website, you can join and get her newsletter. And she also she'll send you one of those really nice computer smart cards that has all kinds of work that she put into a zip file on that, so you can really, she said it's not quite as good as getting a class from her, but it's the next best thing. And you can use it as research and everything too. So I just want to show you something really fast. If I had taken the right amount of time, then I would have a free motion put on here because I've been thinking about how to do this quilt. But I need to get us moving along because I want to show you a couple pictures in the meantime. But I'm going to use this new Superior Thread monopoly for the first time. So I've got to find the end of the thread. Why is that always the hardest part? It's like I love the new thread spools because it's so much easier to find where it starts. Oh, and see my finger? I sewed my finger. Luckily, I had on the gloves that help you move the fabric around because my arthritis has been acting up. But then guess what? It caught the glove in my finger, and what do? I pull it back, so it kind of pulled a gap in it. But anyway, I said, I asked the teacher, I turned on my unmuted and said, can I ask you a question? I said, have you ever sewn the tip of your finger? And of course she said, no, not yet. And I had to say, well, I just did. And because, I tell everybody everything. I see a piece of thread, but I'm trying. Oh, here we go. Whoops. Man, is that thin. It's like fine baby hair. That's why these spools will last you forever. Okay, let me get it. Come on, spool. It is tricky to get it to. Come on. I can see what they've done is it's kind of tucked under so it won't unravel. All right, let's see. I think if I pull it out. I mean, it is, look at that. It's like a piece of hair. It's so fine. All right, but it's strong and it won't bounce back like so many nylon. The first monofilaments were nylon and they were nasty. They were trying, but it was too much like fishing line. And now, oh my goodness, it's amazing what do you realize how lucky we are? They have done so much innovation. Okay, hold on one second. Let me bring you down here. And, okay, I've got to try to, oh boy. I've got to try to thread this machine. Oh, I did it with something that's as thin as a hair, baby's hair. All right. All right. So now, believe it or not, it is threaded. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I've got a zigzag foot put on here. Whoops. I've got a zigzag foot put on here. And I'm going to put it on a zigzag stitch. And probably about a 3. And less than a 2.0. I don't want it too thick, maybe about a 1.8 or something. Okay, and so then I pop this down, okay, and then I'm just going to gently, and what I thought I would do, it would take me forever to go around each little square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pick a row to go down. So like I'll head down this way. Oops, I'm missing that one. So I'll turn up and go this way. And I'll end up finding that and putting it in place. But I'm trying to aim for the edge. Whoops, I don't know if you can see it good enough. I'm trying to aim for the edge of the row. And since it's invisible, okay, I'll go across here. And I'll catch this near the edge. And then I will go here. And I'll come up here. There we go. And I can go just anywhere. Just kind of keep an eye on where I go so that I don't have to. It's so hard to find the stitching. I don't want to do it more than once. Okay? So here we go. Now, then just make sure my needle's down. Bring up my presser foot, and off I go in the next direction. So I come over here, get on this row, come down like this. Okay, go across this. And what I'm going to do at first is just try to make sure that each piece gets at least one side sewed down. Okay? So that's how I'm going to do it. And then now let me hit this. And I don't know if you can see. Let me bring the light over. If you can see, Garrett, I don't know, can you see it? I just use whatever. Sometimes I try to use top stitch needles. A top stitch needle has a longer thread path right above, like pretend my finger's the needle and this is the hole. There's always a little groove right here. A top stitch needle has a longer groove. And what that means is you can take a thread that's delicate and it will slip into that groove. So when the needle's going up and down, it protects that thread from rubbing. That was a very good question. Y'all are so good. And so anyway, a top stitch needle is what I do my thread painting with. Most of my art quilts I do with a top stitch needle because that way I know I can use difficult threads and it'll still work. But at least now you see that shine only, and they've even gotten to where they've lowered the sheen on these. But if they do it any lower, we'll never even know where we've been because I mean this is just the finest. Look at that. It's so thin and strong. Oh my gosh, it's strong. So there we go. So that's what I'm going to do all over this because that will keep the fabric, the little pieces of fused fabric from falling off. Then after I've gone all over this, then I'll decide if I want to outline my fish and I am going to try that black thread. But once I have finished with this, then I will put it with some polyester batting, and then I will polyester batting, and then I'll find a really pretty backing for it, and I will quilt it. And I'm going to quilt it. I'm going to kind of outline quilt the fish, but I'm going to really emphasize a water flow. And in fact, that was one thing I wanted to show Miss Betty is the blue stripes going across really help give that the illusion of moving water. And so that's why I put those in. I saw them on someone's mosaic they had done with a sea turtle. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So if you've already done your mosaics and you didn't realize to put that in, you could try some fabric paint or fabric markers and see if you can darken it down in those areas. All right, so that was really good. Let's go see what you have done because as always, I learned so much from you. Okay, here we go. So thank you again for joining me. Let's go see your pictures and please look into Miss Bonnie Langerfeld and please tell her that Our Time to Quilt sent you because I want these ladies to know that I do appreciate what they do and I love learning. Love, love, love learning. Oh, thank you. Yes, give me thumbs up. I got to get I want to get my ratings up so more people can find me. Because I love doing this. I don't get paid or anything. I do this because I love it. So, okay. Let me go to here we go. Now, let me see. Since we're running a little late today, I'm only going to show you mostly new things. And here is Miss B. Hepworth's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous hand embroidered scene from Yorkshire Downs or Dales. And it's so pretty. She did French knots for her sheep. I mean, look at all the hand embroidery. And this, honest to goodness, Yorkshire is just beautiful. The English countryside is dreamy. So thank you, Miss B, for sending that. We love your work and are so inspired by it. She also did painting on the fabric. So I would like to, maybe one of our next things, we can do some fabric painting work. Okay, we need a drum roll because this is, just so you'll remember, this is, whoops, let me get the arm right. This is Miss Betty Middleton. And oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. And one of the people said it looks like a photograph, and it does. She did an outstanding job on this. All right. Look, there is her koi. Isn't that amazing? I thought you would like to see this. And that looks such fun. And even though it's the same pattern, it has a different look than mine. Mark says it looks very light and airy and like pastels. It's just really got a lovely light, airy look to it. So I think that is what, and look at all the difference in the colors and the way she did the lily pads. It is beautiful. So way to go. That is wonderful. All right. And of course, her nighttime landscape that I think is phenomenal. Beautiful. All right. Let's see. My nose is a little stuffy today. That pollen was blowing around like mad. Okay. Oh, I do want to show y'all this. That Miss Bonnie did this, and she hand stitches these hearts down. I didn't realize she does fusible, and then she does the blanket stitch by hand on all of these. That's wonderful. So that's definitely artsy, I think. All right, let's see what else. We have Charlene. This is the one I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can. This is a stained glass window quilt she did. Whoops. Let me bring it back down just a little bit. And isn't this beautiful? And she put it in front of a window so you could see that the light just goes right through that gorgeous fabric. But now, wait till you see what else she's done. This is her version of the garden gate. And when I saw this, I went, it made me remember that one of the things I loved about the original that we had seen was that you kind of looked up at it and the tall flowers. It just kind of gave that artistic vibe, and she captured that. So way to go, Miss Charlene. That is absolutely beautiful. So I might have to make another one and do some things differently, but that is beautiful. But every quilt we do, it improves us. Just like exercising improves your muscle tone. Every one of these quilts that we do makes us a better quilter. And these, I just wanted to show Miss Cheryl's beautiful, beautiful cross stitch. That's Miss Cheryl Lemon. Now, let me see. With me, I'm trying to think. This is how I did the flowers for the gate. I made the individual flowers on a piece of fusible, and then I cut them out and glued them onto a piece of black material, and then cut them out, leaving an eighth of an inch around every shape, and that would give it the stained glass look, because that garden gate's supposed to look stained glass. Now, this is how I did the mosaic. I took pieces, 9 by 12 pieces of Steam a Seam 2, light, but next time I'm going to get a heavier one. And I ironed on strips and scraps that I thought I wanted to use in my mosaic. And then it was just a matter of cutting them into 3/4 inch strips, then cross-cutting them into 3/4 inch squares. And that's the shape I started with. Oh, that was my shot. That's the shape I started with, but when I did things like the lily pad, I cut them down even further, because in looking at things, when you do mosaics, the smaller shapes have more small features. Whoops, I thought I had something else. These are my grandbabies that you can see Sunday. Oh, that was it for me then. I didn't have something else. Okay, now let me go back and Miss Dolores. And, oh, I forgot to ask her about her bird quilt that she put in the show. Aren't these just gorgeous? And I'm wondering which one her brother-in-law wants. They're both so gorgeous. And I love how she did the lichen on, and she used fabric. When I did my rooster quilt, I took real lichen and hot glued it on. And I thought the judges might not like it. They just said, make sure anything is firmly attached. And I thought, hint, hint, some of your lichens are lifted up. So now let me see. Miss Jody. Okay. So you know Miss Jody of her amazing, amazing works. I don't know if you call this shadow or outline or silhouette. Gorgeous works. But now watch what she does. See how right away she decided I'm going to make them all the same height, but then I'm going to add that typical fence shape. She put the pickets on the wrong side of the fabric so they wouldn't be so dark, and then the darker ones were the right side of the fabric, so she gave some shadowing. But now watch. Then here is her flowers, and she cut each little piece with black behind it. I mean, that is dedication. But isn't it just beautiful? And I love how she had the fabric work for her. Okay, now look at her son. Isn't that beautiful? And I thought, if she doesn't mind, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. That's the son I wanted to have in the first place. So, and what you can do is you cut the shapes, you put them on black and cut around so it looks like stained glass, and then you just glue them down. You don't have to worry about making space around everything else for them. And she decided she's calling it done with her 2 flowers. Because you know what? A big part of quilting is knowing how to edit. And I think that's one of Miss Jody's successes. I'm still trying to learn how to edit. Deb, if a little bit's good, a whole bunch is amazing. So that's one of my problems. But I love this. This came from Kathleen. And now let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to remember which Kathleen, and I can't. Then, I've shared with you Miss Linda's amazing artwork. And she's truly an artist. And she's got the eye, she's got the hand. She's good at editing too, which I'm not. But I'm learning. I'm still learning. And I love this springtime quilt of hers that is just gorgeous. I love that. So way to go, Miss Linda. There are so many forms of art. There's so many techniques. Please remember all of this because I want you to be able to just let your heart and imagination go with you. And look at this. This is our Patricia from Nova Scotia. And she's known as Miss Fire and Ice, I believe. And I always worry I'm going to get it in the wrong order or something, but her name. But look at this. And she does amazing weaving. And she has got so much raw material for art quilts, doesn't she? So she gets tired of weaving. She can take some of her snippets and make great art quilts. She explained to me that this is diamond painting. And she even included a new version of diamond painting. And that takes such patience. Way to go, Miss Patricia. All right. Then here is one of her other diamond paintings. I mean, oh my goodness, that's a lot of work. Really beautiful. And then she has, oh, look at this wonderful rustic table runner that she wove. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. You would see that in your high-end fashion magazines. That's so pretty. Love, love, love it. And today she came home with a new baby. And smart her, she got it on sale for like half price. So now she's going to be able to sew up a storm. I love it. Comes with a wonderful table. That is just beautiful. You know what? It reminds me of the Genomes. Does Baby Lock and Genome made by the same company? But that's a wonderful computer full of, oh, she's even got a thread cutter. My goodness, be still my heart. I love my thread cutter. All right, I think we're just about done. Let me see. Miss Polly, and she taught herself how to do New York Beauties by paper piecing, which is the best way to get perfect points. And it's a little tricky sometimes when you first learn it, but keep after it because it's so worth it. Isn't that just gorgeous? That is beautiful. All right, and I'm thinking, let me see. I think the last one would be Miss Susie Blake. She's really busy right now with her mom and her daughter graduating college. And these look like needle books or some kind of cute little books that she did embroidery for the outside. Beautiful work. And Susie, we're here when you finally have time. You don't worry, sweetie. You know, with this group, I want you to have fun. And if it becomes too stressful, you won't be able to have fun. And then you won't want to come visit with me. So you do put your priorities in order and we'll wait for you. We'll be here. That's the good thing about even with the live streams. They're there, hopefully forever. So there we go. All right. I hope you got to see a lot and look. Nope, turn it on, just not so bright. Oh, blinded myself. But thank you for joining me tonight. And I'm going to get all of these sewn down. Then next week, I want to have a butterfly, and for the Mosaic koi, I'm going to make a dragonfly. And I'm going to try to use, I have made upstairs some sheets of the Angelina fibers, and I'm going to cut out wings for my dragonfly. So come back next week. I'll try to have the dragonfly mostly made so you'll know how I did that. And then I'll show you how I make my butterfly. And then we can talk about what do we do with these quilts now that we've cut everything out, we've fused them, we've stitched them down. We're just going to begin. Bring any fabric paints, markers, ink tints, products. Let's do the next thing. And then let's talk about how we're going to quilt them. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And Patricia, you saying you feel like you found your tribe was one of the nicest things you could have ever said to me, because that's what this is about, is finding people that understand and get you for who you are. And thank you so much again. And I will see you next Thursday night, also this Sunday. So keep creating. Yay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. Have a good week.